Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey, hey, hey. What's up? What's up? What's up? Are we on? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Are we clear? It's been a while since we've been live, and it's tough getting our stuff up and running. But I hope you can hear me. Hope you can see me. Hope I'm clear to you. Holla at me. Holla at me. All right, good, good, good. Well, hello. Good to see you guys. Hope all is well with you. It's been a while since I've been on here. Like I said, the um, took us a second to get our connection and everything straight, but I'm glad that I'm able to be on with you, and we are able to work it out today. I think that we got a lot of good things coming, a lot of good things coming, a lot of good things to discuss, and I can't wait to, I don't know, like fully roll out everything that we plan on rolling out. One of the main things One of the main things that we planned for this year was check check. One of the main things that we planned for this year was to have in-person Bible study every Tuesday and to transition our Tuesday talks into um, in-person gatherings. And we were able to execute that. We were able to do it. And I'm so excited about that. Even tomorrow, we're going to be in person, rocking out, having a great time. And this is all in Chicago. Some of you have been locked in with us for a while. And so you've heard me say many times that I am based in Chicago. Um, and not just that, but you've heard me say that I felt the Lord leading us to build and necessarily plant in Chicago. And so it's actually happening now. And so those of you that are in the Chicagoland area, you're able to be a part and join in with what God is doing. It's an amazing, amazing thing. So I'm excited about it. I'm trying to see if this if, one of our mics works. Let's see. There we go. Check, check. How that sound? That sound good? Good. I'm grateful. Check, check. Check, 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 check. Boom. Oh, good. Yeah. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful just about everything that's going on. One of the things that I plan on doing from this point forward is going live weekly. Again, I haven't been live weekly because I've been really focused on um, building in person, and so we've been really working. Um, and everything that I've been posting and saying really hasn't been shown on Instagram. Some of you don't really know how like the social media world works. Um, and so like you may be confused as to why you probably haven't seen like posts and different things that we've been doing or saying. So there's something in the Instagram world, in the social media world, called shadow banning. Shadow, like your shadow behind you. Shadow banning. And banning like you've been banned from this building. Um, it's an algorithm thing. It's not necessarily a person sitting behind a desk targeting you and picking on you or anything like that. It's just literally um, the algorithm makes it so Instagram doesn't tell your audience you posted something. So, how does Instagram tell or Facebook tell your audience that you posted something? It shows up on your timeline. So when you go on your when you open up your app and you start scrolling and you see Erica posted her kids and you see Tina posted her new job and you see Bobby posted his car and stuff like that, that's Instagram or Facebook telling you this person has posted. They're showing you that. You see it on them. You see it without having to go search their name and find them to look it up. Well, when you're shadow banned, and it only really happens to people with a large amount of followers. So if you got like 10,000 or more, this could happen to you. When you're shadow banned, it doesn't alert your audience that you've posted. And so you wouldn't see that I posted anything unless you looked for me. And that's my story or even just a regular post. You're not going to naturally see it. It's going to, in essence, hide from you. And so I think I'm coming to the end of that. And so now people are starting to see my posts. Like for like, let me show you how it works. So like I have 370,000 followers on Instagram. So that's my highest platform, right? I can make a post today and get like 10,000 views, right? But then but then when I post tomorrow, I get 10 likes or 10 views. Now I have over 300,000 people following me. Obviously, it's not just 10 people that saw what I did, right? Or that can see what I do. So when you see that drastic change, that means that there is something in the algorithm that's keeping you from being seen. It's weird. It's not, again, it's not a person. It's not somebody I can call and text and be like, hey, what's going on? It's just, that's just how it works. And for me, it's been like that for about 2 months now. Yeah, about 2 months now. And so we're kind of coming to the end of it. People are seeing a little bit more what's going on. But for a long time, the main way for you to see something that was happening in the ministry and something that was changing was for you to look at my story. And for a long time, my stories were getting more likes than my actual posts that I was posting. If I posted about we're doing an in-person Tuesday talk, that would get less views or likes than my story, than if I put it in my story that we're doing an in-person Tuesday talk and all of those things. Okay. I think what showed that I'm coming to the end of that is I posted that I was at the SOAR Awards Monday, week ago today. Um, and I was able to be a presenter for the SOAR Awards. If you don't know what the SOAR Awards are, it's an award show, a gospel award show that's kind of like the Stellars, but just a step under. And by a step under, I'm not saying a step under in like quality or whatever. I'm saying a step under in like people knowing it, people knowing about it, like how the Stellars are under the Grammys. Like you know about the Grammys more than you know about the Stellars. So I posted about that, and that got great reception and all of that stuff. And so it kind of showed that now people can see what we're doing now. So it's the storm is over. We're good. It's amazing stuff. And so if you do follow me, I want you to, if you care that much, I want you to turn your notifications on. And you would just go to my profile, click the notification bell, I believe. Turn your notifications on so that you're notified whenever we post something, because there's so much that we're doing that I don't want you to miss. It's amazing to me how many people don't know that we've shifted to in person. Not because I'm not telling you, but because you're just not seeing it. I've had a couple of people tell me, I see you've been like quiet and like you haven't been doing nothing. I'm like, nah, we've been doing more than anything lately, honestly. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. A lot going on. I want to talk to you about something in don't worry, the replay is not going to have anything else. And I haven't been reading the comments. Let me go back and do that at some point in our conversation. But I want to talk to you about something that I think is prevalent and serious in our time today. I have to preach in Canada on Saturday. I fly out there this Friday, but I preach on Saturday at a church called Reach Montreal. Reach Montreal. It's pastored by a friend of mine named Patrick Isaac. Very, very powerful dude, younger than me, and his church is thriving in a crazy way in Montreal. It's absolutely amazing. And excuse me. And the Lord has been putting me in a season where I've been having to herald the same message. And there are like two different messages that the Lord has been having me say. The first message is on prayer. He's been making me teach on prayer like never before. The second message is on the priesthood. He's been forcing me to talk about the priesthood and the fact that he is raising up priests in this nation and in the body of Christ like never before. It's time, more than ever, really hear me, it's time for us to step up as God's people and as God's children like never before, and step into our role as royal priesthood, as a royal priesthood. And so in dealing with those two topics, there's an underlying topic in that where God really wants to deal with the maturity of his people. The maturity of his people. I've been reading a book on that by A.W. Tozer, The Pursuit of Christian Maturity by A.W. Tozer. Remember, you can rewind this video. So if you just missed that, you can literally rewind and go back and see it. That's why I'm reading that. God really wants his people to grow up. And he says something very powerful to me. He said, this is not the year to be a half Christian. It was a heavy word, he said, but he said, this is not the year to be a half Christian. This is not the year to be halfway in and out, halfway in and halfway out. He said, this is the year to be fully devoted and to be fully committed in everything, because America's going to hit a space where we're going to have to relearn life again. Just like it was after COVID, when we had to relearn what life was like after COVID. It's the same thing. We're having to relearn what it means to go out and buy groceries the way we normally do, go to school the way we normally do. Like, we're going to have to relearn those things. And I have a strong sense it's going to be because war is going to touch our soil. War is going to touch our soil. And America is not ready for that. America is not ready for bombs and missiles to hit our buildings. We're not prepared for that. There aren't some underground shells and missiles, you know what I'm saying, in our streets and in our cities. You know, I live in a suburb of Chicago, and they don't have indoor bunkers and stuff just in this suburb. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that in Chicago. I remember when 9/11 happened back in 2001, and I was in first grade. My grades went with the years. So 2002, I was in second grade. 2003, I was in third grade. 2004, I was in fourth. You get it? And I remember being in school, sitting down at my desk, and I literally remember having my hands folded like this on my desk. I was trying to be a good kid that day. I don't know what was going on that day, but I was trying to be on my best behavior for some reason. And I remember sitting there like this, and I remember a noise came over the intercom, and it said, "All teachers, please bring your students into the learning center." Now, the learning center for us at the school I went to was this open area where we would have our assemblies and little things like that. And so they took us all into the learning center, and it was a bunch of kids, because a bunch of classes had to go in there. We all had to go in, sit down, cross our legs, and wait for the principal to come in. The principal came in and put the TV up and showed us what was happening. And while all of us were in there, we had to get all our bags, get all our coats, get all our clothes, get all of our stuff, had to go sit in there. And they called each of our parents and was like, "Come get your kids. It's time to go. America's under attack. We cannot," you know what I'm saying? Like, keep on going with class. And so I got, I think we got sent home early, and I came in the house, and my mama was sitting in her room, and everybody went to her room and just started watching the planes hit the towers. And at that time, it was just one plane that hit the towers. And so we thought, or excuse me, the second plane had just hit the towers. We had thought initially that it was an accident, like somebody had fell asleep or something crazy had happened. But then when the second plane hit the other tower, we watched it happen, right? We watched it on news. We watched it happen, and it shocked the world. And everyone realized, oh, snap, America's under attack. My auntie, who just passed away this year, last year, my auntie Sharon, I remember she worked near the Sears Tower in Chicago, and they called it the Sears Tower at this time. She worked near the Sears Tower, and they had evacuated that area in Chicago because they didn't know where the other attacks were coming. And the Sears Tower at that time, if you guys remember, was the only tower bigger than the Twin Towers in America at the time. And so they thought another plane was coming and it was going to hit the Sears Tower. And so my auntie had came to our house. She came in the room, "Michelle, talking to my mama. Shell, they are attacking America. And my auntie's a prophet, was a bona fide prophet. Dang, my auntie gone, but was a bona fide prophet. She came in, was like, Shell, they attacking the towers. We didn't know. I say that to say, we didn't know what to do in that time. We had no plan. We had no training. We had no anything. Like nobody knew what to do. Fast forward 2026, President Trump declares war on Iran. Oop. President Trump declares war on Iran, and missiles and bombs start going off about 2 weeks ago. And while that's happening, I remember going on social media and there were Americans in Dubai. And I had just took a Dubai trip last year. So I was very familiar with like the landscape and like where people were in their videos. They were in the areas that I literally was. They were in areas, hotels and stuff that I literally stayed in at that in Dubai. And I remember this guy going live. He was a famous streamer, I think. And he went live on his phone, right? And it was alarms going off, and it was people all in the lobby on their phones. And it was like bombs just hit the buildings, and a bomb just hit Dubai's airport. I remember being in Dubai's airport. Beautiful, clean, the cleanest, beautiful, most architecturally astonishing building ever, right? A bomb, a missile hit the Dubai airport. The guy is on the live and he says, "Hey y'all, I just want y'all to know I'm doing fine. Everything is okay. I'm shaken up and I'm scared because I live in the States and we're not used to stuff like this in the States. We don't know like how this stuff goes. And so I'm thinking like we finna die. Like I'm scared to death." And there was a woman from the Midwest, the Middle East, excuse me, in near him, and she says, "Hey, I'm used to this. I'm good because we deal with this all the time where I come from. There's bombs and stuff hitting us all the time. And so we have many bunkers, we have many hiding places, we have many places to go." And I saw that young man terrified because he wasn't prepped here in the States. I saw another video of another young lady. She was making a video trying to reach Donald Trump through the video, saying, if President Donald Trump sees this, I'm asking him to please help me get out of this state. Get out of this country. I'm an American citizen. I'm scared. I'm stranded. I'm by myself. All of these things. We were terrified. The Lord began to speak to me then, and he said, America's not ready for what's about to happen to it. America has not prepped. And in America's pride, we felt as though we were untouchable. So I don't know when, I don't know how, but something will happen that will shake our comfortability again and make us have to relearn life as it is. And I believe it'll be war in our streets. I see like missiles flying over the American flag, like how jets fly over the Super Bowl, right? I see it like that, like missiles flying over the American flag. We will have to learn a new norm. In the middle of all of that, there is a people who have faked being believers for so long that they have no clue how to pray and intercede in this moment, in this time. And they have no clue as to how they are supposed to be locked in. and focused in on God in this season. There's too many people who have played church and played with God, and it doesn't click to us just yet that at some point the devil's going to pull our card, and we're going to find out if all of that God talk that we talk is actually real. We're going to find out. We're going to find out if we're serious about our relationship and if we're serious about our walk. We're going to be called to the carpet. And so those of us who have been stalling on what God has been telling us to do, and forgive me for just chopping it up and talking to you, but those of us who has been stalling, and those of us who have been more focused on our personal qualms and issues with people, and those of us who have been focusing more on our personal condition than we have our spiritual development and our spiritual maturation, it's going to be a scary time for you. Those of us who we still have a problem with praying daily, we still have a problem with reading scripture, we still have a problem with forgiving our brother. It's going to be an extremely difficult time for you. You're going to be forced into a season of delay and stagnation. And where you see victories in your life, it will literally be just the mercy of God, not necessarily a result of your fervor or a result of your reverence for God. You're going to see just how stuck you actually are. And so this is why some of you feel this pressure to clean up your act. And excuse me for saying you and y'all and having that type of language. I'm talking about us. Forgive me. This is why many of us have been feeling the unction to get ourselves together. Not just because you're running out of time, and not just because by running out of time, I mean like now you're, for instance, me, 31, not married, no kid, one kid, I guess, and doesn't. I don't have a home. I don't have certain things that are established. If I died today, nothing will be left here in my name. I have nothing to pass on to my son. Just nothing. So I need to lock in regardless. But it's not just because of those materialistic things. You understand? It's because there is something coming to our nation that we're not prepared for. And there's a type of spiritual warfare coming to us as a people that we're not prepared for. God has been doing very, 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 very serious soul work on us to get us to get over ourselves for too long. And now we're going to be caught off guard. So I believe that there's about to be a rise of real Christians. And I believe that it's about to expose fake church. And when I say church, I'm not talking about the body of Christ that Jesus is coming back for. I'm not disrespecting the ecclesia. But I'm speaking of the man-made system and structure that we've erected, that we've put up, and that isn't the real thing. In this time where we're transitioning PCM into an actual church, that's what I've been doing. That's what we're doing right now. That's why we have in-person Bible studies every Tuesday in Chicago, Illinois. So come up tomorrow, pull up to the venue, Trigger Chicago, right across from Cook County Jail. Holla at us. As I've been transitioning PCM into a church, I've been doing real deep study on the church and God's original purpose for it, God's plan for it, and what it would look like for me to, build build an authentic ministry. And I have a lot of people asking me like, you starting the church, you planting the church, what? You doing that for real? What? I'm not necessarily planting a church. I'm recognizing that PCM is already a church. And I'm moving and acting as if it is. You understand? So this has already been a church. Why? We come together with fasting, prayer, the word, discipleship, all of those things that encompass a church. That's what we are. But we're not the norm. We're very abnormal. It's not going to be the normal stuff that you see. It's not, hey, we're having service and kids day and da 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 da, it's not that. Eventually it will become that, but it's more so a thriving community growing and maturing in the faith together. So right now we're building the systems, working on the things, doing all those things, but I've been really focused on what the church is, what God initially called it to be, and what was never supposed to be in it. I'm building a culture. In that, I have a deep conviction about the fake stuff that we see today. In that, I've been watching and looking at ministries that I've known since I was a kid and watching where they failed, where they stagnated, where they capped off, where they lost God, where the community staled out, where the leaders were failed, whether morally or where they failed in leadership out of fear of not having strong conversations, not addressing things, not sitting some down, not raising some up, not sending some out, not restraining others. Like, I'm paying attention to all of these things, and it's been changing me. My focus hasn't been like social media and coming live and different things like that. I try to make stories and post and be interested in all of those things, but I really have no desire for a lot of things right now. My only sole focus in life right now is my child and the ministry God put in my hands. That's literally like all I think about all day, every day. Nothing else. My child and what God put in my hands. There is such a need for the real to rise up. There is such a need for those who are genuinely called to step into your assignment. Have you been drunk with pain? Have you been drunk with good times? Have you been drunk with love? And you're just in your season of love. You found your person, and so now you're skipping through daisies in love. Have you been drunk with trauma? You're still at a place right now where everybody has to adjust their language and talk for you. We still have to make sure you're not offended by something we said with no malice. We still have to walk around you with eggshells. We're still trying to get you to where you're supposed to be. Are you drunk with delay? God's been trying to get you to volunteer at your local church, and you're kind of inching your way into it, but you kind of don't want to do it because of your trauma you've had in other churches in your life. And so now we can't get your help, because instead of getting your help, we get 2 weeks of good from you, and then trauma kicks in and an argument ensues or a problem ensues, and like now we can't really work with you or build with you. What have you been drunk with to where you are not necessarily noticing the times and noticing the shift in the spirit? That God has become more and more serious about the growth of his church and the maturation of his people. Where is your mind? Where is your mind? Where is your mind? I want to show you something. And I think it's in the Gospel of Luke. or it's in one of the gospels, but let's see. Oh, here we go. Matthew chapter 26. And this is the New Living Translation. And y'all forgive me. I know that y'all commenting, but I haven't looked at it just yet. I'm seeing like out of my peripheral, like writings go up, but I just haven't read anything that anybody has said yet. Matthew chapter 26. Look at verse 36. Focus verse is verse 45. So you can write that down in your notes if you want to take notes. Matthew chapter 26. We're going to start at verse 36 for context, but our focus verse is going to be verse 45. That's going to be our focus verse. Matthew chapter 26, verse 36. This is something I've been talking about often. This is Jesus praying in Gethsemane, right? And this is the New Living Translation, all right? Matthew chapter 26. Look at this. It says, then Jesus went with them to the olive grove called Gethsemane. We taught this many times. You know that the olive grove means the olive press or the place of crushing. It's a place where olives are crushed to create oil. It's a place of crushing, place of transition, a place where the will is broken so that God's will can be established. It's a place of crushing. All right. So he goes to the olive grove, which is called Gethsemane. Remember, Jesus goes there often. He's there a lot because he's always at a place where he's wrestling and breaking down the will. So he says, sit here while I go over there and pray. He took Peter and Zebedee's two sons, James and John, and he became anguished and distressed. He told them, my soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. Verse 39, he went on a little farther with his face bowed down to the ground and praying. Now, this first verse, where he says, verse 38, where it says, he told them, my soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. This is the message that I taught, my first message I taught when I opened up our in-person Bible studies, which is about 2 weeks ago. I taught on this because I wanted to deal with the anguish and the pain and the strain of stepping into what God has called you to step into, what God has called you to do. And so what we see here is he says, My soul is crushed with grief to the point where I feel like I'm about to die. Now, I've taught this many times that Jesus's major fear was not that he was going to die. It was not the pain that he was going to experience by the whips and the chains and all of the things, although that was something major. That's not what he was afraid of, right? He was not fearful of that. What he was fearful of and what was bothering him the most was the fact that he was going to be separated from his father. You understand? That he was going to be separated from the father, that him and the father would have to split because he was going to take on all sin. Okay? And so since that's his fear, it's killing him. The thought of it, the pressure of it, the anxiety of it is overwhelming him. It's breaking him down. His body is literally breaking down. He feels like he's about to die. And if he is not helped by God, he will die, as in his body is going to give out before he's even able to go on the cross. And so he tells his disciples, who also feel grief, who also feel pain, he tells them, hey, I want you to stay here and keep watch with me. In other words, I want you to pray with me so that I can be strengthened. And I want you to pray for yourself so that you can be strengthened. I don't want you to do anything else other than pray. Now, because they are in grief, instead of praying, they go to sleep. Jesus is in such stress and turmoil that his body is going into a flight or fight action. You guys understand? So when he starts sweating blood, like the book of Luke tells us, Luke 22, when he starts sweating blood, doctors have saw that as a medical condition called hematidrosis, where your body breaks down under the stress and weight of whatever's going on, to the point where your sweat glands produce blood instead of sweat, instead of, H2O. Like blood vessels bust and you start bleeding, but it's sweat. It's bloody sweat. And so that's when your body goes into a fight or flight action. What does fight or flight mean? Fight as in you deal with it, you stay the course, you attack the thing head on. Flight, you find a way of escape. You get out of it. You understand? Jesus went into a fight or flight mode. They went into a fight or flight mode in their grief. And instead of choosing fight, they chose flight. What was flight for them? Sleep. That was their way of not even addressing what was in front of them. Instead of dealing with that pain, because it would have been too hard to pray in that moment. It would have been too hard to call on God in that moment. Instead of doing what they should have done, they went to sleep. Many of us, we are coming up on a fight or flight time. And we're going to see whether you choose prayer or sleep. And some of you are extremely literal people. So you're thinking I'm saying like a time is coming where God is going to want you to pray and you're going to go to sleep instead. I'm not just talking that bland. I'm saying you're going to choose flight, as in you're going to get in a relationship that God does not sanction simply because you don't want to face the pain of loneliness. You're going to snap off and clap back at somebody who ridicules you or talks about you or does something weird to you because you don't want to face the pain of forgiveness. You don't want to face the pain of turning the other cheek. You don't want to face the pain of letting them be right even when they're wrong. So you will choose flight, as in cuss them out, punch them in the face, or expose what you know. You will choose flight, as in when they go low, you go to hell. You'll choose that. That's flight. The fight in this moment for them was spiritual. It was not natural. Peter chose flight the second he cut off a man's ear with the intention to cut off the man's head. I was going to preach a message called "Thank God I Missed." If you're a preacher in the chat, that just got good to you. If you're a real preacher, like you're good at what you do. I'm joking. That was good to you. Peter cut off a slave's ear. Sorry. A man by the name of Malchus. He cut off a slave's ear. When I was young, I didn't quite catch the point that he wasn't aiming for his ear. If he cut off his ear, what was he aiming for, family? His head. He just missed. And so I started to work on a message called "Thank God I Missed," where I would be preaching on the providence of God through my stupidity. But anyway, that was his flight. That was his flight. His flight was responding carnally at a moment when God wanted him to be spiritual. Responding carnally at a moment when God wanted him to be spiritual. Jesus chooses fight, and the fight was spiritual, as in the fight was prayer. He chose to pray instead of the flight option for him. Now, what was the flight option for Jesus? Well, he tells us this. The flight option for Jesus was this. He tells us this. I had to find it on Google. Yep, sorry. It's in verse 56. In verse 56, this is the flight option for Jesus that he could have chose. Oh, sorry. $53, not 56. So when Peter chose the flight option, look at this. Verse 51. This is Peter choosing his flight option. It says, but one of the men with Jesus, that's Peter, pulled out his sword and struck the high priest's slave, slashing off his right ear. So he was trying to cut off his head. He was trying to kill him, and he missed. Verse 52. Put away your sword, Jesus told them. Those who use the sword will die by the sword. Verse 53. Don't you realize that I could ask my Father for thousands of angels? In the Greek, that word was 12 legions. So he says, don't you realize I could ask my God, I could ask the Father for 12 legions of angels to protect us. And he would send them instantly. There was one angel in the Old Testament, just one. One angel killed over 100,000 men. one angel killed over 100,000 men. If God sent 12 legions, when one legion represents like 5,000. So if God sent about 60,000 angels, he could wipe off the entire human race and start over. Jesus is saying, that's how much power I have right now. If I chose to respond carnally, I could kill everyone and everything and start over. That's my flight option. I'm choosing not to do it. Now, that may be up here for some of us. So let me bring it down to your level. You have all the text messages, screenshots, photos, videos, and all of those things to destroy the person who's talking crazy about you and lying on you. You have all the information right here in this device to go in. And your flight option will be to make your posts, expose them, and say, "See, this is what they do. This is what they." That will be your flight option. You have the power to destroy. Your fight option will be to pray for those who talk about you, despitefully use you, instead of using what you know to destroy them. What we are seeing is the difference between Jesus and his disciples and why he was able to choose prayer instead of running, even at the breaking of his body, is simply because he had made his life a life of prayer. He chose prayer over anything else. He chose real prayer. His prayer was based in, Father, not my will, but your will be done. That's what his prayers were based in. His prayer wasn't based in supplication, which is, for many of us, that's what most of our prayer life equates to. It's either supplication or warfare. We choose one of those two. So some of us, our prayers is just how good we attack the devil. When your most powerful form of prayer is how good you recognize God in prayer. So for instance, for me, majority of my prayer time is adoration. I know people, majority of their prayer time is calling out spirits and attacking and destroying and dismantling and breaking down. But God says in the book of Jeremiah that you will tear down and build up. I don't see building up at the level that I see tearing down, destroying, breaking. One thing we got to understand is that when we start to pray and start to speak well of God in our prayers, anointing, change starts to shift. And it's a different thing in the atmosphere. For many of us, the reason why we don't pray is because our prayer time is reserved for emergencies. So it's warfare. It's God, I need, which both of those things are extremely valuable pieces of prayer. We need to know how to warfare in prayer. We need to know how to supplicate, where we ask God, where we say, Lord, this is my need. This is what's going on. Those are valuable, important pieces of prayer, but there must be a balance in it. So our prayer has to be, Lord, I surrender my will. I yield my will to you. I completely lay myself down. Lord, this is what I want to do. But Lord, teach me to do what you want me to do. Help me to submit to you. Some of you know I have a book that I'm working on one of them that I'm working on, that I'm going to self publish, is the one where I'm talking about prayer. And I'm using the Lord's Prayer as the model and method to break down 5 different types of prayer. Because scripture tells us to pray with every prayer, praying with every prayer. That's what scripture gives us. And so there are 5 different models and types of prayer. When Jesus tells them, pray like this, Our Father who art in heaven, it wasn't a prayer that we needed to repeat over and over like a ritual, although some Christians took it as that. That's not the Lord's Prayer. That is the Lord's model and method for prayer. You got me? And so when he says, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, when he makes that his first mention or his first statement in prayer, that's an example to us of what prayer should primarily look like off top. Our Father who art in heaven, recognition of God as Father and recognition of his place and his seat in the universe. I recognize you are my Father. I recognize you are my Lord. And then I recognize where you are as it is in relation to me. You sit high above me. Your thoughts are not my thoughts. Your ways are not my ways. You are beyond me. So I recognize you. I acknowledge you. I say who you are. And your prayer should primarily be that. Hallowed be your name. Hallowed means kept holy. So he's saying, may your name be kept holy. So then I go into study. I go into learning about what holiness is. What is holiness? His name be kept holy. What does that mean for him to be holy? Lord, may you be kept holy. May you be kept righteous. May your name be exalted far above the sky, far above the problems and the issues of life. May your name be kept holy. Do you recognize God's holiness, or do you only recognize God as a genie? Some of us only see God as Jehovah Jireh. And by Jireh, we're talking about a car, a house, bills paid. Some of us recognize Jireh in a higher level. We're talking about Jireh as in God, God of meeting all of my needs and problems and issues, which he is all of those things. But I want you to understand God is far more. God is far more than what we make him out to be. And so I'm working on that, and that's going to be done soon enough. But it is the teaching of what proper intercession and prayer look like. When it looks like that for us, then we don't fight as much with the air. We don't fight as much with our enemy, the devil. Right? We don't fight as much with him because he's not going to consume most of our prayer time. I want you to do a test when you pray. I want you to kind of write out or number how many times you mention your enemy or his devices or attacks in relation to how much you mention your God, his plans, his ways, his greatness, his majesty, his beauty. If the ratio is like 60-40, 60% devil, 40% God, switch up that ratio. The ratio should be 80-20. I would dare say 90-10, but let's just keep it 80-20. If you hear me, say I hear you. Yeah, it should be 80-20. So check this out. Jesus, he's praying, he's asking the Father to give him the strength to do his will. What is God's will at this moment? That mankind would be saved and that he would die, Jesus would die for mankind. That's his cry, that's his plea. Jesus has to submit to that. And so as he submits to that, check it out. It says this. He goes back to his disciples and he finds out that they knocked out. They sleep. They sleep and they can't wake up. They knocked out. So verse 40, he returns and then he says to Peter, out of all people, turns and says to Peter, couldn't you watch with me even 1 hour? Couldn't you watch with me even 1 hour? Were you able to pray with me for even 1 hour? Verse 41, keep watch and pray so that you will not give into temptation. For the spirit is willing, but the body is weak. Your spirit is ready to obey, to submit to God, but your body is weak. Your body is given up. Your spirit is willing and ready, but your body is weak. Your body is given up. Your flesh is not willing to obey and submit to God. Your flesh does not care about God. So then Jesus left them a second time and prayed, my Father, if this cup cannot be taken away unless I drink it, your will be done. When he returned to them again, he found them sleeping. Listen to this. For they couldn't keep their eyes open. This is the season we're going into. I recognize that many of us, we just simply cannot keep our eyes open. Am I right about it? Norris, I want to pray. I want to see God. I want to fast, but I just can't keep my eyes open. I just can't spend time with God. Like, I just can't turn the other cheek. I just can't get over what they did. I just can't get over where I am. I want to be very transparent with you. And I'm gonna leave you in like 5 minutes. My bad for taking up your morning, talking nonsense to you. I want to be very transparent. Like I said, I'm in the season with this ministry that I'm trying to build and grow and all of those things. My grace for a lot is gone. I don't necessarily have the same grace I used to for things that I would normally do. I find that I'm really trying to find a way to describe, to like explain this without sounding mean or off. Even in like, okay, let me give this example. Even in like my home church, I serve at my home church. Some of you know that, some of you don't. Uh, my home church is in Racine, Wisconsin. My father and mother are the pastors, Apostle Norris, Prophetess Michelle Johnson. My mama just preached yesterday, but I serve on the media team. So I work the sound, I work the cameras, the whole media presentation. I do that. I'm also one of the leaders, so I preach when I'm asked to. I facilitate. I'm probably going to be the one up there praying, the one up there doing the welcome, the one up there um, giving the prophetic word, all of those things. I do To be very honest, I do everything. And by everything, I just mean a lot of things. Um, and that's just Sunday. That's just our Sunday presentation. I do a lot of things. There are people who do way more things than me all throughout the week, all throughout the, whatever. Um, our ushers clean the whole church and do the whole thing. My father, of course, does way more than me. My mother does more behind the scenes than me. I'm just talking about Sundays. I do a lot. And I'm because of how I'm building this ministry, I find myself losing, my grace to kind of facilitate and do the things that I normally do in my home church. I was like looking at some old videos and stuff that was popping up on my iPad. You know how iPhones and iPads do these memory things with your photos. It's like if you go into your photos, you see like montages and stuff of like just old photos and memories and places you went and stuff like that. It was showing me old moments of me facilitating and ministering. And it had clicked to me that I had been doing this for 10 years. I totally didn't even think of that. But like it went through a decade of me back in 2016 and 2017 and 2018 of me standing up in front of the church, facilitating, carrying moments. And I was looking at how all of those moments were powerful. Power of God was moving in those times. It was rocking. The minstrels and everything was just all in sync. It was just moving and powerful. And I thought about this. I was like, man, I don't know the last time I felt that type of feeling while being up in ministry. Like just the feeling of power of God is moving. I'm flowing in and out. And I felt myself, I was like, man, I'm losing my grace for this. Like I'm losing my grace for facilitation and all of those things. And I still do it now because I'm serving. So if I'm asked to, hey, get up, do a prophetic word, or hey, take the communion, or hey, pray us in, or hey, do whatever, I do it. But I feel it's just all very hard. Like it feels hard and like ineffective, unproductive. Like I never feel like it worked, if that makes sense. And what I noticed is whenever I feel things like that, whether it was old jobs or old places I used to visit or old friend groups I was in, whenever I felt stuff like that, it was my grace for that thing lifting because I'm in transition for another thing. And so God has been transitioning me to lead this work that he's put in my hands. Right. And so I feel what I don't feel there, I feel it when I'm leading our in-person gatherings every Tuesday, or when I'm preaching itinerantly, when I'm traveling and preaching. What I don't feel there, I feel when I'm in my assignment. And it's showing me that like my time with that is coming to a close. And I'm not saying like I'm not being I wouldn't say I'm not being received, or people don't like me, or just weird stupid stuff like that. I'm saying spiritually I don't sense the grace for that anymore. He's lifting that. And so it's forcing me to seek him more in prayer, to focus in on him more than I ever had before. It's forcing me to lock in mentally. And it's forcing me to not allow myself to shut my eyes spiritually and to go into this this old cycle. You understand? I sense, man, God, help me articulate this, man. This is so hard to articulate. Because everybody's not going to understand what I'm saying. Um, I sense like it's. I'll say it like this. I've been in church for 31 years. I'm 31 years old. Birthday August 31st. 31 years old. I've been in church for 31 years. I've watched church. I've watched people my whole life. I've seen people when I was young be crazy dedicated to God. I'm talking about their Bible is in shreds. When I go spend the night over their house or something like that, I'm seeing them pray, seeing them seek God, you know. And I'm talking about like, you know, brothers and sisters in the church, you know, when I was a kid, you know, I'm playing with sister so and so's son or hanging out with brother so and so's, you know, daughter and whatever. Like we just being church kids having a good time. I would see my elders be locked into God, right? I would see them get prophecies in front of the church. Hey, you're going to own this. You're going to do this. God's going to do this with you. God's going to, you know, start this business through you. God's going to open up this door through you. God's going to blah, 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 blah. As I got older, 10 years at a time or 5 years at a time, I started to notice that they never changed. They just stayed in that same place. And then eventually I watched them fall off. I watched them leave. And not saying that leaving is a form of falling off. No church controls your destiny. That's demonic. That's a cult. But when I see them leave, they leave and now they're in the world. Now they're, you know, smoking, getting drunk all the time, or just out here living life and have rejected their assignment and seriousness in God. Or some, this is the worst, have stayed in the church and I see them in the exact same place they were when I was 10 years old, when I was 12 years old, when I was 20 years old. They're in the exact same place. They haven't launched anything. They haven't started anything. They're not sharper. They haven't worked on their spiritual acumen. I watch them stay the same. And there was a point in their life where they hit a Gethsemane season. And instead of praying and fighting, they chose flight, and it put them in a cycle where they just stayed where they were. Consistency is amazing, but it's scary when you're consistently mediocre. When you're consistently under your potential. When you're consistently below your call. Consistency is amazing, but it's scary when you are consistently in the same mindset. There are people I came up ministering with, or I came up, you know, doing things with. The young man, he's like a brother to me. Young man I started prophesying with, he's completely in the world. I think he's like a Hebrew Israelite. None of them are atheists that like came up prophesying or like ministering with me in my church, because we've seen too much um supernatural occurrences to ever think God's not real. I've never seen a person leave our church and become atheist. I've just never seen it. But like I've seen them like just leave the faith, go into weird things, go into weird habits. There are people who came up with me ministering and they're still operating the same way they were back when we were younger and preaching. It just showed me there is a place where people stop, and it's because they've fallen asleep. Sorry, y'all, for not reading the comments, because I'm trying to get these thoughts out. There's a place where people fall and they don't ever mature past this place. It's the Gethsemane season. It's the Gethsemane season. the fight or flight mode we go into. Jesus chose fight, they chose flight. It says in verse 43, Matthew 26:43, Matthew 26:43, Matthew 26:43, that they could not keep their eyes open. I watched that with people growing up. I always asked God and just wondered, man, what was the difference between me and other dudes, other people I came up with? Hey, Nadia, what was the difference? Like, is there are people I came up ministering with who never did what I did. I had a child out of wedlock while preaching. My son finna be 3 years old next week. Yeah, next week. Sai finna be 3 years old. Had a child out of wedlock. When I started ministry, I was doing drugs. By drugs, I mean pills, mollies, did acid, lean, stuff like that. 3 years in the ministry. Had terrible mistakes, terrible falls. And my ministry kept doing this. Like in the way I'm saying that people haven't changed in 10 years and stayed the same. For me, I don't think anyone can say to me that I am in the same place I was 10 years ago. Like in 2016, you cannot look at me right now and what I'm doing right now and say he is the same as he was in 2016. I've changed drastically. The way I do ministry has changed. The way I lead has changed. The team I have has changed. The quality in which I do things has changed. The events in which I put on are different than they were in 2016 when I would put on an event or host a service. Like it looks all different. It's grown. So I would ask God, what is the difference in that? It's Gethsemane. You chose to fight while others chose to sleep. And it was at the point where you were in the most pain. You were able to take on pain and not run, but just face it. So you exposed your falls, your faults, I posted my child. Nobody had the chance to expose me and put it out there. I'm gonna expose him. He was out here wild and da 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 da. And like the leadership board had to sit me down and had to tell me what I was doing. No. I sat the leadership board down and told them I have a child on the way. When I was given, nope, sorry. I almost went way too far. Almost said way too much. Some stuff you should never know. Wow. I chose to expose those things. You understand? I chose to put certain things out there. When it came down to the drug addiction that I had in ministry and all of those things, I came out and said it. It was something like people weren't doing. Preachers weren't coming out about their kids. People weren't coming out about mess ups that they had. And this wasn't something I was just doing my whole life and my whole ministry. It would be spurts. It would be a season of just mess ups and whatever. And because I have a leadership role and because I have a platform, none of my stuff that happens to me happens behind a veil. It happens in front of people. But I chose not to run from it. I chose to face those seasons head on and bleed. Whether I had to sit down, whether I had to do anything else, I chose to face those things. If you don't keep your eyes open in this season, you're going to be one of the people we're talking about who looks the same 10 years from now. Not in the good way, not in the healthy way, in the purpose way. You look stagnant. The real Christians, the real people are being called to stand up. They're being called to stand up. Your grace is shifting, your season is changing, your time is changing. There's work for you to do in other places. It's messing with me, especially with my home church, because I love my church. I love my church. I think that we are the greatest. But I can sense like my grace changing. I can sense me not, it's so funny when I get up and talk now because it just always feels like I'm talking like to like the wall, like just something like it's just, I don't know. Like I don't want to say that I'm not being received, but it's like I'm not being received. Or it's like a super awkward silence or awkward, like just looking at me like, what? And I remember the days we used to be able to just ride that and like just go crazy. But now everything is like a force and like a push. And it's like I don't have the grace behind me anymore to like shift a service or to lead a moment or to do anything like that. Like I don't have it. And I used to think it was because I wasn't praying enough or I wasn't fasting enough or like I wasn't clean enough or something of that nature. But that's not the case. It's just my season is changing. My grace is changing. I'm being pushed into leading another work that God has given me. And so, yeah, I'm going to still serve. But like, this is the first time I ever felt in my life that I'm not effective in this place anymore. And it has nothing to do with my personal life because I'm not in sin, right? It has nothing to do with my personal. I'm in too much debt to be in sin. I owe too much money to be in sin. I got too many big problems to be out here living a double life. Oh my God. I'm too broke to sin. But it's the first time it has nothing to do with my personal life. Right? It's just the season has changed. It's time for another to step up and go and push and move. And it's time for me to really build what he gave me here. I'm just noticing it. I'm seeing it. And it's the first time in my life that I ever sensed it and felt it for real. So I don't like getting up and doing prophetic words or doing anything like that because I'm just like, oh man, it's gonna be awkward. Like it's gonna be quiet. Atmosphere gonna stay the same. People gonna look at me strange. Yeah, it's a season of change. It's a season of transition. And so I brought up the other people that I watched in my life stay stagnant. I brought them up because there was a season they hit where they didn't adjust, and it caused them to be either stuck, stagnant, or stay in that same place for years. For me, I feel like I hit the season in my life that all of them hit. And my decision right now at this moment will determine whether or not I stay in this place barren, no real fruit, no real life, no real anything, or I grow and blossom into what God has called me to do. I've had and I'm ending with this. I've had over the last week, I've had about several prophecies that have come into me, and people don't prophesy to me often, uh, but when they do, I get them in bunches, and it's always right before a season is closing and another season is opening. And so I've gotten prophecies in bunches in back rooms. When I was at the SOAR Awards, somebody stopped me. Somebody very prominent. If I said their name, all of you would know them. They stopped me. I didn't know they knew me, but they knew me. They stopped me and grabbed my hand and was like, "You hear God well. You're not missing him right now. You are doing exactly what he told you to do, and you need to keep doing it and do not stop." They say, "You hear God well. You will not miss him this time. You're not crazy. This is really what he's saying, and it really is what you think it is. And it's okay. Go forward." Random person, never talked, never had a conversation with them, none of those things. Very prominent prophet. If I said her name, all of you would know her. I didn't know she knew me, but she just grabbed me and said that to me. And I almost start crying. And I think she could see that. I was like, wow, I needed somebody just to tell me that I wasn't crazy. Because this stuff is hitting me so hard, it almost made me feel like I was wrong or I was in sin or I was doing something I had no business doing. Because it's like, why is it so hard to plow and push? Why is it so hard to move? Why am I struggling at my home church? You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I struggling spiritually there? Like, what am I doing? Am I tripping? Because I'll give all of this up in a second. You give me the out, bet. I don't want this is too much hell. And he was like, she was like, you're not missing God. You hear him very well. Trust him. Trust what you've heard. I said, all right, bet. Some things be all I need to keep going into keep pushing. Remember, I told you verse 45 is the focus verse. I want y'all to see this. This is Matthew 26, verse 45. I want y'all to look at that verse. Matthew chapter 26, verse 45. Matthew chapter 26, verse 45. Matthew chapter 26, verse 45. It says, then he came to the disciples. They were asleep again. All right. They couldn't keep their eyes open. Verse 44. So he went to pray a third time, saying the same things again. And verse 45, listen to this, y'all. Then he came to the disciples. What's up, Juani? For sure, for sure. Then he came to his disciples and said, go ahead and sleep. Have your rest. But look, the time has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Up, let's be going. Look, my betrayer is here. Listen to this. Look at the sarcasm in the statement. He looks at them because they couldn't keep their eyes open because they kept going to sleep. He looks at them and says, go ahead and sleep. Have your rest. In other words, it's too late now. In other words, we don't have any more time. You've slept your season away. You've closed your eyes to the shift, into the transition, and now it's too late. Your moment is arriving and you're not ready for it because you have not shifted in transition. I don't want God to tell me, go ahead and sleep then, Norris. Go ahead and cuss her out then. Go ahead and not forgive then. Go ahead and not work then. Go ahead and not plan then. Go ahead and not pray then. I don't want him to have to say that to me because in this season I kept making it about me and I kept doing what I wanted to do. Guys, y'all don't understand. All of this other stuff that we're focused on, that we're stuck on, is so stupid. You're going to get to the end of this thing and find out unforgiveness was the only thing keeping you from obtaining what God wanted for you. You're going to get there and find out somebody telling a lie on you 10 years ago is the only thing that stopped you from getting what God really promised you. I'm so terrified I'm going to find out at the end of my race that it was my frustration with people that killed my growth in God. I would be sick to find that out. I would be sick to find out that I would have made it had I just let go of what wasn't even that serious. Go ahead and sleep. The time has come. Terrible, terrifying statement. I pray that none of us have to hear it. I pray that none of us have to hear it. Mm. Wow. Family, I'm bringing this to a close. I think one of the main things I'm doing right now in this season is I'm staying in prayer beyond my feelings, beyond what I'm thinking, like beyond what's been on my head, beyond what's been on my mind. I'm staying in that place of prayer. Don't go nowhere, Instagram. And one of the things that I've noticed the devil really wants is my attention. He's really after my attention. Some of you guys come on Instagram and you don't recognize that I'm looking at another like screen. And so like in your mind, you don't know that like I'm on YouTube right now or Facebook or something. Anytime I'm on YouTube or Facebook, the live always stays there. So you can always go back and watch it live on YouTube or live on uh, just live on YouTube. Let's just say that, not Facebook. I don't really get with Facebook like that. It'd be like 4 people on there. But yeah. So if I'm ever not looking at y'all and like my whole attention is not faced on y'all like this, that means I'm not talking to this platform alone. That means this is a side platform. Amen. Yeah, I don't focus on anything else in this season other than building my prayer life, building my word life, and trying to correct all the terrible, horrible habits and methods of life that I've had for 31 years. This is the time to get life together. This is the time to get life together. All right. Um, Listen to me. Let me say this. We are, if you didn't know this already, again, we are transitioning PCM into a into an actual church. one of the ways that we're doing that is that we are having in-person gatherings every Tuesday. And I've never done this before, never asked you guys for anything in this way before, but um, this is us stepping out in faith in building, and we have other things that we're planning for down the line this year. And so we're just really moving by faith. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I heard the Lord say, now is the time. I need you to shift Tuesday talks into in person. And we're going to change the name of that, but that's just what we're calling it right now, Tuesday Talk Live. And it's just in person Bible studies. And we're building a gathering, we're building a community of people. And our first week, we had a solid group of people. This past week, all of our chairs were filled. All the chairs we put out were filled. Um, and it is just growing by leaps and bounds already, beyond what we thought it would be already. Because people are driving 2.5 hours. People are coming from Wisconsin. People are coming from Indiana. People are coming from different places just to be in a community. And all we're doing literally is we're talking. We're growing in fellowship. We're praying. We are worshiping. I'm teaching the word of God. We're praying again, and then we're going home. That's all we come to do. And that's literally what the church was back then. It was prayer, it was worship, it was the explanation of scriptures, and it was fellowship. It was community. That's what we're doing. We're building our church. And so right now I'm in the process of strengthening my core team and finding out those who really feel called and assigned to me. I started out by reaching out to everybody that ever told me, Norris, if you start a church, I'm gonna be the first person at your church. Well, I started pulling everybody card. Hey, you said that you would join me, right? If I did something. Well, now is the something. They're like, you started a church? No, I started a church when I started Preach Christ Ministries in 2021. That's when I started a church. I just didn't want to call it that. But now I stopped not calling it that. And so we've been going off of just the grace of God as far as financial. We were able to get favor with the owner of the venue we saw. We just literally found a venue on Peerspace. My assistant found a venue on Peerspace, and it just so happened to fit the aesthetic that I was looking for. If you know me personally, you know I don't like low grade anything. I like modern look. I like fresh. I like clean. I think God's stuff should be in excellence. I think the way Solomon built the temple and built his home is the way God wants us to build anything that we build for him. And so I wanted like a loft type of look. I wanted to be in a circle because to me that represents community. I wanted to kill all awkwardness and all natural inclinations we have to just kind of separate ourselves and be to ourselves and just come and just, get what we need and leave. I wanted to create an atmosphere that took away the spookiness. I think that the power of God doesn't have to be spooky. I think that the power of God doesn't need to be scrunched up faces and deep dark tongues as people are walking in. I think that the power of God can be displayed in us saying, "Hey, what's up? You good? How you doing? You all right, man? How are your kids? Oh, you look good, man. That what's that smell you got on?" I feel like the power of God comes through that. I was raised, not raised because I'm not saying that this is my home church culture, but I was raised around people who everything was just like, at the start of an event, we just speaking in tongues aggressively. Nobody said hi. Nobody said what's up. You didn't get a hug when you came in. Nobody offered you some water. Nobody offered you an orange, whatever. It was just, hello, everyone. Come on. Let's go up in the spirit. Like it just was, you know what I'm saying? And I just felt led to have a culture that feels like home. And I wanted to slow cook you. So people coming in, they don't, I had people last week tatted all from their head down, just tatted up. People that just became a Christian 2 weeks ago, pulled up on us, don't know me, don't know my giftings, don't know, the grace that I actually carried, don't know me at all. And we slow cooked them. Started out, what's up? You good? All right, bro, that's what's up. Da, 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 da. And, before they knew it, they were in an atmosphere where people were praying in tongues, where prophecy was being released, where the word of God was being brought forth, and they had never felt something like that before. And so they're like, man, I'm definitely coming back. I'm definitely be here. I'm gonna get my guys. We're gonna all come back. So what we're seeing is an exponential growth. When people come to our in-person sessions, they typically come back with 2 or more people. That's what we're noticing, because our environment, what we are creating, is something special, and it's not even settled yet. And so what I've always wanted, I'm just now creating that. It's like when you grow up and leave your mama's house for the first time and you get your own home, how you've always wanted your home to be. That's how you make it. You get the rug you want. You get the carpet you want. You get the TV you want. You get the room you want. You got the volume that you want. You got the smells that you want. All those things. It's like that, but it's also I'm fully supported by my family, fully supported by my father. My father has been at each of the in-person lives, and he lives in Racine. So they drive an hour and a half or an hour to come and be a part of each of our sessions. My sister came to the last one. People are coming from Racine. People are coming from my home church to support. Not a lot of people. There's like 2 people that, basically is like my family, just coming in and supporting or whatever. It's literally catered to those who don't know God and want to know him, and those who knew God but didn't know him like they thought they did. You know what I mean? And we're moving off faith. We haven't taken up an offering yet or anything like that. And we haven't done any lives to even show that. We do go live every time we do the Tuesday talks in person. Every one of them are on my YouTube channel right now. If you just turn your notifications on and you subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn your YouTube notifications on, you'll see us. You'll see me go live every Tuesday. The worship is live, all of those things. We're still tweaking it. We're still perfecting it. It's still janky, but it's just 2 weeks into it. So we're getting it together. What I do want to ask you for is, if you want to support what we're doing, we desperately need that help. We desperately need that support. Although we are not necessarily raising offerings at the moment, this is nowhere near cheap. I am paying for the team that is there, the musicians that are there, the media team that is there, to make sure that you guys can see it when you're not here. And we're paying for the venue. And all of that is about $1,200 altogether each Tuesday. Each Tuesday, we are in need of about $1,200. And so what I want to ask you is, if you have ever been blessed by this ministry and you ever wanted to be a blessing to us, I would desperately ask that you would support us financially, even right now, and help fund what tomorrow will be. Those of you that want to come out to experience it, we're in Chicago. The venue is called Trigger Chicago. You just type that in your maps, you'll see it right there. It's on Addison in the west side of Chicago. I would be tremendously blessed if you guys would sow into this experience, sow into it, and help us to cover all the needs that we have. We get about 5 packs of notepads, legal notepads, and we sit them on each chair. We get a pen and a notepad to sit on each chair because we believe in uh, scholarship. We believe in studying. We believe in really understanding the Word of God. And so when I'm teaching, everyone's writing feverishly. People bring their journals. People bring, all of those things. College kids come in are uh, just blessed tremendously. So far we've given away 10 different resources, 5 Tony Evans study Bibles, and 5 Tony Evans commentaries, Bible commentaries. I gave away 5 Tony Evans Bible commentaries the first week, 5 Tony Evans study Bibles this week, and tomorrow I'm gonna be giving away some other Bibles. We're just trying to give, but we do need help financially. So if you want to sow into that, I'm asking, please sow into us. Help us meet that budget. Help us meet that need. It's about $1,200, $1,200 every week. $1,200 every week. Somehow God makes it happen, but it is the most stressful thing in the world, ain't it? If you want to sow, look at the pinned comment. You can sow through there. There was a Zelle that we had before, but there's a new Zelle I put in there. It is CHANAK16 at gmail.com. Again, CHANAK16 at gmail.com. Not me, M-E, but gmail.com. I want you guys to use that Zelle if you can, if you choose to sow through Zelle today. But if you choose to sow through Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, or if you choose to just go through the website and use Givelify, you can. You can do it any of those ways. But if you feel led to sow, you feel led to give into that ministry, I want you to sow and put the tag on there, Tuesday Talk Live, so I know where it's going to, so we can allocate that properly. Tuesday Talk Live. That's our in-person Bible study. Again, it's every Tuesday. Tuesday Talk Live. Tuesday Talk Live. Tuesday Talk Live. Every single Tuesday. Tuesday Talk Live. Tuesday Talk Live. Tuesday Talk Live. That's the joint. And if you sow, you just put in the comments, I sold, so I can say thank you, because I can't see it. But I just want to thank you for it. Thank you guys. Now, some of you were asking questions probably while I was talking. If you got a question, holla at me. I want to answer that. I want to answer that. Set the tone. Said I have to make it a point to pop up at one of these Tuesday talks soon. Hey man, every Tuesday, 7:00 p.m. But we are the doors open at 6:30. We don't start at 6:30. The doors open at 6:30. Last week we didn't do a good job of making sure people were fellowshipped with and talked to. I noticed that. So we're gonna fix that this week. But pull up on us. Nadia, thank you so much. Thank you so much for believing in us, sowing into us. Mia Anderson said, what if we already sent it to the old Zelle? Then you already sent it to the old Zelle. And we thank you. Thank you. Zanelle said, March fast dates, please. Soon come, soon come, soon come, soon come. March is an extremely busy travel month for me. Like I said, I'll be in Canada Friday. The week after that, I'll be in Louisville, Kentucky. And so we're finalizing a date that works within my travel schedule so that I'm not missing Bible studies and all of those things. So soon come. And by soon come, I mean like within the next 2 days. Anasia Antoine, has the PCM merch already been shipped? Yes. Tierra on TikTok said, what is the Cash App? My name, that's on TikTok. Norris Johnson II. Norris Johnson II. That's the Cash App. Norris Johnson II. Chicago is on the come up. Chicago is the greatest city in the world. Greatest city in the world. What's up, Matt? Thank you guys for giving. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you is there any questions from the people that's left? Going once, going twice. I'm gonna give you 60 seconds. What up? 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 I stay loyal. We know. It's coming to you though. But we know. That's why it's coming to you. This week you should have it. I have a random question. How do you maintain your fire for God? By doing all the things you think are just like simple things: prayer, reading the word. Literally, those are the greatest, most powerful, heaviest things you could ever do. And that's how I maintain a fire for God. I pray and I seek Him. I just follow what I saw Jesus do in the Gospels. It's literally not more complicated than that. It's literally not more deep than that. There isn't much more. It's literally that simple. You'll get to a place in your life where that clicks for you and you realize that's like really the only answer and it's going to change everything. How can you not have fire for someone you're in constant communication with? Real communication, not just praying and saying words daily and then checking it off your daily list and saying, all right, I spoke to God today. Let me go home. Like, no, like really conversating, really relationship, really prayer. You know what I mean? Prayer with great reverence. Meditate on Hebrews chapter 5, verse 7. 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 Bishop said, I feel like I keep searching for a place that I feel I'm missing in. And I appreciate your answer. Yeah, what you're searching for is right there. It's literally that simple. It's um, no deeper than that. Shamara Blair, I sold from New York. Come on, live from New York. What is it? Bedford Stuyvesant, the livest one. Hey, thank you so much. I've been watching New York stuff lately. I love New York. I love New York, but Chicago is the greatest city in the world. And we getting ready to come back to summer. Ooh wee, UC, the ugliest, money hungriest. Live from Bedford Stuyvesant, the livest one. Thank you so much. Norris, what email can we use to email you and your team? Same one. Norris Johnson Min, MIN, at gmail.com. Norris Johnson Min, MIN, at gmail.com. Ooh wee, UC. YouTube, I'm giving you 60 seconds if there's a question for real. If not, we're gonna roll. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Devil. Set a timer for 60 seconds. Oh, can't do it. Ooh wee, UC. There we go. What part of Canada? Montreal. 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 We're going to be in Montreal. We're going to be in Montreal. We're going to be in Montreal. This is my itinerary. This is my itinerary for the rest of the month. All right. Oh, timer gone. All right, y'all. Love you. I'll see you soon. Maybe tonight. Maybe not. We'll see. See you soon. Bye bye.